All right, welcome back to another episode of Carrville Conversations. I'm Keith Ray. I'm the pastor here, and I have a guest host with me today by the name of
Rebecca Ray,
my wife. And we have the privilege of sitting down with Anthony and Jessica Stellarini. They do young adult, youth, student ministry here at Carrville, and glad to have y'all with us.
Good to be here.
yes.
So, we'll just get right into it with some questions. What do you do here?
All right, so like you said, about 3 or 4 months ago, I was feeling called to come and lead the youth. That's we had a vacancy in the position, so or the young adults, as we like to call them, which is 14 through 18-year-olds, and I felt the call to lead that in the vacancy of our previous children's pastor. So we've been doing that for a few months, basically leading on Wednesday nights, study, and then doing a bunch of activities with the youth, including a lot of service projects and things aimed at integrating the youth with the rest of the adult population at Carrville and in the community.
How else do you serve?
Jess leads, but I kind of help with Sunday school class in the mornings for the
They're 3 through 7.
3 through 7. So we do that, and then obviously I sit in the back and I kind of run the sound booth and the slides and stuff for the worship service also. So
Such humility. You do more than just sit in the back. Y'all have any children?
we are currently certified foster parents in Alabama. We were previously foster parents in Oklahoma for about 2 years before we moved here. So yeah, we just got certified, and we have a couple of children, Marianne and Jacob, living with us right now. So we're just taking that day by day.
So, let's back up. Where did you grow up, Anthony?
So I grew up for most of my life, probably from birth through 16, in Ohio, Canton, Ohio. Grew up there, went to Catholic school, private school my whole life, even through high school, and graduated. And then right before my senior year of high school, my family moved to Oklahoma, and because my dad took a job there, and I lived there for about a year with them, and then I went into the Air Force at about 17, turned 18 in basic training, and then been hopping around ever since then.
Where'd you grow up, Jessica?
I was born in Mobile, Alabama, so just a few hours away. I lived there when I was a little kid, and then moved a couple of times with my dad was a restaurant manager growing up, so, we lived in a couple other states, Tennessee, Louisiana, and probably the longest time spent in Louisiana. So, but all over the Southeast, mostly, not like this northerner guy over here, but
So,
yeah.
where did y'all meet? I mean, Oklahoma is not right next door to Louisiana, Tennessee. So, how did y'all meet?
Yeah, that's the best thing. We met in Louisiana, but there was quite a few years in between when I graduated high school in Louisiana to going in the military and traveling around the world a tiny bit, and then ended up back in Louisiana at the same time he was stationed there. So we met at work. It sounds kind of boring, but I mean, I don't think it's probably all that uncommon. So we were both pretty young, but we worked in two different sections of the building, and I would take as many liberties as possible to go to the part of the building that he was in, just for the sake of bumping into him, I guess.
So you're saying you had your eye on him
Yes,
early on?
exactly.
Oh.
Yes.
To say the least.
To say the
I
least.
should say it.
Anthony, were you trying to go to the other section of the building where she was?
No, she was usually, so let me give you a little more color to the story. So we were both in the Air Force serving as IT, basically, type jobs for the Air Force. And originally I was assigned to a unit that was just part of the base, and then there's a special unit called the AOC, Area of Command, that like is a smaller, close-knit IT building and facility and squadron and stuff. So it's just crazy how God works, because like I was scheduled to go to the base squadron, but I knew a person from my previous station in Korea, South Korea, for a year that ended up getting me over to the AOC building. So got over there and started working there for, I don't know, it was probably 6 months, 3 or 4 months maybe. And I started noticing that this girl that worked in a different part of the building would constantly come over, and there was a line of monitors, and she would constantly come over there and be like peeking over the monitors and talking to her friend, talking to her friend, which was a contractor, Amy, and that she knew real well and was good friends with. So one day Amy said, she sent me an email. She was like, "Hey, I'm asking for somebody else, but like, because she was married, she was like, hey, are you single?" And I replied, yes. And as soon as I hit send, Amy gets up from her desk and runs to the back office where Jess works. So I was like,
We were
okay,
so
well, I know
stealthy.
who is asking now. So, but yeah, we started dating shortly after that.
But all that was outside of me. I didn't grant any permission to any of that. It's just, that was all her doing.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
awesome.
the hanging out, trying to make it known was my doings, I guess. But
Yeah. But we
But
started.
the whole email was all Amy, huh?
Yeah.
yeah, I guess she was just going to cut right to the chase. Maybe she thought we were both too straight to business. I don't know.
But anyways, we started dating shortly after that, and I think we technically dated for a year and a half, but because I was cross-training to a different job outside of IT, it was still an Air Force job. It was just the drone sensor operator stuff with the Predator and Reaper drones. I started going to trainings a lot. So really, out of the year and a half we were dating, we were only in the same location for like 6 months altogether.
Yeah, there was
So-
a lot of long distance. There was some long phone calls, and
Yeah,
those were not foreign to us. And
yeah.
So, were both of you Christians when you met?
No.
All right. So, Jessica, how did you come to know the Lord?
so I remember, I grew up going to church with my family. We weren't knocking down the door 2 times a week or anything, but we were pretty regularly involved in a church most of my life. And my dad, of course, is a great man who loves God and taught me, he made a point to teach me a lot of concepts and encouraged me to learn Bible verses and things like that as a child. I think there was a time when I was a young teen, maybe like a preteen, where I felt emotionally moved towards Christ because of the drama of his sacrifice. And at that time, I realized the depth of where it felt very dramatic to me that he made such a sacrifice. I know that, but I don't think I had put really what I had been learning and that depth really together in a way that put my feet towards actually pursuing Christ until some years later. Probably I was in my 20s, early 20s, and I was about 20 probably, but I felt that the Lord used some relationship pain prior to Anthony to teach me to depend on him for the love that my heart longed for. And to understand that I wasn't going to find that unwavering love anywhere else, truly. So I remember some choices I had made in my life at the time where, I was somewhat wayward, and the Lord brought to memory some of those things that my dad had taught me as a child. I remember the fruits of the Spirit. Specifically, the fruits of the Spirit came to my mind. And I just assessed my life, and I felt like I have none of these. My life does not contain any of these fruits right now. And so that was just like a turning point. I think God brought that to my mind and started going to a church right there in Bossier City, Louisiana. So it was just like, I'm just going to start going to church. And I mean, quite frankly, that was just to get myself kind of back on track, I guess. And that wasn't long before I met Anthony. But as far as like baptism, I was actually baptized in a Baptist church at the same time with him later. Like, I hadn't actually ever been baptized.
So when did you come to know the Lord, Anthony?
So, like I was saying earlier, I was raised Catholic, went to the Catholic school all through grade school, junior high and high school, graduated from a Catholic high school in Canton, Ohio. And I feel like they taught a lot of things about God maybe, but the theology of what I was taught in Catholic school basically boiled down to what my third grade teacher taught us was, the way into heaven is God's got 2 jars full of marbles. One of them gets filled with gold marbles, one of them gets filled with black marbles. And the way to get to heaven is you got to have more gold marbles than black marbles. Gold signifying the good things you do, black marbles signifying the bad things you do. And that was the sum of the Catholic, what I knew about God and Christianity and Catholicism and all that stuff. All the way through my time in the military, through basic training, through the first few bases I went to and everything. Funny thing about it was when I met Jess, she kind of started inviting me to go to the church that she was going to. And, man, it was a wild, wild experience walking into a Baptist church when you go to Catholic church all your life.
It was really not wild, though.
Holy cow. It's like,
Culture
Catholic
shock.
church is like,
Yeah.
You walk into church, you don't say anything to anybody, don't look at anybody, just go to your pew, do the hour-long mass, and then you go home, and that's what you do each week. Baptist church, first time I walked in, it's like, hey, how you doing? What's your name? What do you do? And you're talking to everybody, and everybody's talking to you, and it's obviously a lot more. It was the First Baptist Church, so it was a little bit more like contemporary style worship, so it's definitely a culture shock for me. But probably after going there for, I'd say 3 or 4 months, a pastor came that he kind of traveled around a lot. I think he was, his name was Tony Nolan, I think. And he was just doing a guest speaking thing at the church one Sunday morning. I think he was like the pastor for like Mercy Me or Casting Crowns or something when they went on tour. And I listened to him lay down Ephesians 2:8-9, and it just completely broke all Catholicism. It being how it's all about grace and nothing about what you do, like 0% what you do. And that just something that just like broke everything I understood about God, Christianity, religion in general.
Those
all
gold
that
and
stuff.
black marbles busted out of those jars.
Yeah,
didn't they?
it was just wild. And he kept preaching, and I felt the Lord call me. And so me and Jess both went down. I remember I'm always a little hesitant, especially when, you start doing life choices and stuff. And I remember standing in there, and we were both like, I was on the verge of like tears and stuff. And Jess is next to me. Are you going? Because if not, you need to move because I'm going down here. So Jess was getting baptized with or without me. And I was just a little bit more reserved still at that point in my life maybe. But we both walked down there. We both went through a little bit of a teaching from the church about what, which is good because I think that's important. Like you need to know what you're signing up for, kind of like really know what you are claiming to believe and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. And we did that, and it was just like a fire hose. It was just like drinking from a fire hose. Like, because once you get away from a world where they tell you one thing and all this stuff is true, and then all that's shattered,
Yeah.
and then just the fire hose of the gospel and the Bible, just like I just couldn't soak it in enough. And then shortly after that, I started bouncing around to do the cross training for my job and stuff. And that's when I really started learning a lot about the Lord and my faith and all that kind of stuff. And like she was saying, her dad David Charlton, that's also a member here. He was a big help in helping me understand concepts that are hard for a new believer to believe. But that's basically how I came to know the Lord.
Yeah, I love Davo. I call him the bishop. In my phone, when he calls me or texts me or something, it says the bishop. Your dad's great.
Yeah.
Now, so you came to know the Lord after you started a relationship with the girl who was trying to peek at you over the monitors.
Mm-hmm.
So isn't it crazy how God works?
Well, one more thing to add on that, too. I remember after we both walked down there and agreed to be baptized, we usually went to breakfast after church together. And we were driving, I just will never forget, like, we were driving over this bridge to get to Cracker Barrel, where we were going, and Jess is just bawling the whole way. She's like, I've been praying so long for this, for you. And so that was cool.
It's so amazing that you can remember all these details. I love it. Thank you.
Yeah,
Love it.
that is, it's just amazing. It always continually amazes me how God puts things together.
Yeah.
So how long have y'all been married?
14 years last month. So
Oh, I missed that. Happy anniversary a month late.
Yeah.
I'll say appreciate it.
14 years.
It's going fast.
Time always flies when you're having fun.
Oh, yeah.
And y'all have been at Carrville for how long?
Should be 3 years next month, I think.
Y'all previously lived in Oklahoma before you got
Right.
here, right?
We have come here off and on when we visited in Oklahoma. We lived in Oklahoma for about 8 years. 8 years, I think, yeah.
So after you both got out of the military, y'all moved to Oklahoma
Mm-hmm.
with your family. And what is your present employment?
Currently, I'm a project manager for a defense contractor that's still based in Tulsa, Oklahoma, where we lived for 8 years. But they allowed me to go remote during COVID, and so I took advantage of it.
And what do you do for work?
Well, yeah. Right now, I'm not working outside of my home right now, and after leaving the military, I went to school and started studying human services work. I never dreamed of it before. It just felt like something I could learn about people. You know, something I could study to learn about people and communicating with people and understanding emotions and mindsets and things like that. And I just figured that was something I could study for a few years since I had a GI Bill to use. And in most capacities over the years, I've worked mostly as a volunteer, whether it be for like pregnancy centers. I think I try to go just wherever I'm needed or wherever feels natural. I think that's kind of how I live my life. The times that I have worked, I enjoyed working for an eye doctor in Oklahoma. I worked as a tech, an optometric tech there. Recently, I worked for a company locally that I got to learn all about logistics from two men who are Christian men who love the Lord, and that was a blessing to me to just kind of get my foot in the door to somewhere local. But then whenever Anthony started talking to me about pursuing ministry to the young adults or the youth, it was one of those, I'm sounding like a kind of a sappy person today on this podcast, but it was one of those experiences where I couldn't believe my ears when he was talking to me about this, because I was just surprised, because serving God in my church and people is just kind of like a dream come true, really, to be able to say, for him to say, you know, I want you to focus on this with me. That's kind of like music to my ears. That's like the best thing I could have heard, because anything else I was doing always just kind of felt like a waste of my time in a way, or I hadn't learned how to rightly see it. But so that's what I'm doing now, and spending more time with the kids that are in our home right now, and I guess that's what I do. And I hang out with my family and my sisters a lot because, you know, I love them.
I hear you.
You're a blessing to him.
You got any questions, Rebecca? I don't want to be a mic hog.
Oh, no, you're good. I'll let you keep going.
Okay. All right. I want to get these out of order a little bit. What is a fun fact very few people know about you? Go first there, Mr. Stellarini.
I would say very few people maybe know that here, but my job in the past, maybe not so much now, but in the past, enabled me and Jess sometimes to be able to travel to a lot of different places that a lot of people don't get to see. My job, we do a lot of supporting of some military activities, and which enables us to get to some places that, you know,
So
people-
he took me to Hawaii
yeah,
for my 30th birthday. And so that's not something that I was planning on getting to
yeah,
actually get to do.
yeah.
So that's one example. And it was kind of like, I wasn't expecting it. So,
What a great gift.
Yeah.
yeah.
It was my first work trip to Hawaii. And then we've also taken her to England. So I've been to England a couple times. I've been to the Azores, which is like a small island chain off of Portugal. I've been to South Korea because I was stationed there for a year in the Air Force. I've been all over the country in the South, different military bases. I've been to Hawaii like an uncountable amount of times for
Like
work.
boring to you now.
Yeah, yeah. It's a long flight over there.
All that I'll add to the fun of that, because I mean, yeah, that's fun in the travel, but the funny part of it to me is that, like, before we decided how we were going to really flesh out this remote work opportunity that he had, we were looking at stuff on the internet about like living on a boat, like living on a yacht,
Sailboat, yeah.
or like living in an RV. So, fun fact, we knew we needed to be able to be rooted in a body of believers, and that became the precedent, as well as getting back to my family. But we were kind of looking into some alternative lifestyles that is completely opposite of how
Being
things have
rooted.
turned out. So, yeah, exactly.
It'd be hard to have a homestead with chickens and all that stuff in an RV or out on a boat.
boat.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
Hey,
You
Mom,
gotta kind of
did it.
pick one.
we just were. So I thought that was a fun fact about you.
What about you, Jessica? What is a fun fact that not very many people know about Jessica?
I mean, I love dogs. I love dachshunds. A lot of people probably know that, but they have a special place in my heart. We got chickens, and we got plans to have other animals and stuff like that. But
But you'd rather have
I
dachshunds?
really just want a couple of little dachshunds running around my house, but they're fun.
Now, what do y'all do for fun?
Work.
Yeah, or basically like,
raise chickens.
you know, we have 6 acres in Tallahassee, and
No, it's not.
I mean, she's not lying. Like, I'm just one of those kind of people that just loves to work. Like, doesn't matter if it's like the lawn at home or work. Like at my project management job. Like, I like doing all that. So we have, like Jess said, we have 22 chickens now. We have bees. We want to get either goats and or pigs going on our property. But I'm always doing something around the property.
To give people an idea of that, our property is mostly trees, so that involves a lot of work before any of that can even
Yeah.
be a reality.
What is your dream for Carrville? And we'll start with Miss Stellarini.
My dream is that God will just bring people here that that just want to be together and learn about Him together and live their life in a way that pleases Him and is building for, like, is encouraging and building for the next generation. Like, I love young people and I love little kids, but there's a part of me that I just want to see people come together, enjoy a righteous life for the sake of the family unit, and so that those kiddos can just get started off right and be strong. And I just think that, I think that's where my actual heart is within Carrville, just to be the one that can strengthen the family for Christ's honor and glory, of course.
What about you?
I want Carrville, or any church that I'm ever a member of, to be a church that embodies what the Bible calls the church to be. So when you read Acts, when you read parts of Timothy and Titus, like, they give very clear descriptions of what the church is to be, how the members are to be, and how they're supposed to work together to honor Christ. So I just, my prayer and what I try to strive for in ministry is everything needs to be under the authority of Scripture and done in a way that Scripture teaches. I think, just my personal opinion, we can get it wrapped around the axle when we start saying, oh, we want Carrville to be 3,000 people, 5,000 people. And I think that's good. That's a good thing to wish and to hope for, and, praise God if that happens. But I think we have to start with, what does the Bible say? How am I supposed to be as a Christian? How is the church supposed to be as a church? And do things through that lens. Mm-hmm. So, like everything the Bible says about, the younger generations of men and women mentoring, the older generations of men and women mentoring the younger generations. Like, the church is to care for the orphans and the widows. We're supposed to fellowship together. No church member should, have a need. Like, we should all be operating and driven towards one goal. So that's what my dream is for Carrville and any church.
Great. But especially where your feet are planted.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, well, we love you guys,
Yeah.
and really encouraged, because in many ways we are like-minded. We say it in Ray language, you say it in Stellarini language, but in many ways we are like-minded, and we look forward to serving with y'all and seeing what God would do through us, all of us.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, that's it. You got any parting word, Miss Rebecca?
No parting words.
All right. Great.
Thank you.
Thanks, y'all.